Hey, Greg, thanks for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Looking at this game, certainly maybe a little bit of the tale of two halves. You guys seem to not get a lot of the ball or very many chances there in the first half, maybe outside of Chicha's good shot. The second half looks like through some adjustments, you guys were able to create and generate a lot more. What did you see from the game?
Yeah, I mean, similar to what you just said. In the first half, we were cognizant of the temperature, the humidity, everything. We were trying to protect a little bit of our depth. I mean, the punch to the gut is they scored exactly how we said they were going to try to play us, get the ball wide, roll balls behind the back line. It seemed like a nothing moment that ends up in the back of their net. But the overall, just in terms of the play, the first half, because they had time to set up, they had a lot of players rotating into different positions, forwards coming off the top line, a lot of numbers kind of overloading the middle of the field. We were having a hard time getting clarity as to how to get pressure on the ball and who to pick up and how to keep things clear for ourselves. So when you do that, you end up dealing with a lot of things a little bit deeper in your half of the field, and that's what I think the first half was, a little bit of that. And then when we got possessions, at times we were a little bit rushed. We had to get some clarity in terms of our shape because they came out in more of a 4-4-2 instead of the 4-3-3 that they typically can. So we just needed to spent a few minutes trying to get ourselves into the right shape and the right positions. And I feel like once we did, then we were able to keep the ball a little bit better and control the game. So the halftime switch was to go into that a little bit more permanently, and then to create some clarity for ourselves to be able to really go out and press and not give them time on the ball to rotate and find different positions and just eliminate really any time that they had, which then the group needed to be really committed to the fact that we weren't going to be resting on the defensive side. We just had to go, we had to press, we had to recover the ball, we had to win our duels. And then when we won it, we could be a little bit more methodical. We were in the positions that we wanted to be to try to create opportunities. And I think that's what ends up happening in the second half. Once we got the adjustment right and got everybody onto the same page, then I think we really imposed ourselves on them in the second half. And the only thing that was ultimately missing is the goal. Obviously, Vanney makes a couple saves, but when you're pressing for 45 minutes and you're going to take a little bit risk trying to get the reward out of it. Maybe they get a chance or two where we didn't deal with it, but Vanney made a couple great saves in the half. But we were all in their half and we were all over their goal, but nothing really concrete in the that we needed a goal, right? We needed a goal. So missed a PK or had a PK saved. Those are tough moments. But the commitment in the second half, the organization, the work rate, the clarity that the guys had, that was very good.
I was going to say, did you feel, and maybe you don't, just based on your answer, but did you feel like maybe you did have chances to not only tie this game, but maybe do more? You had Joveljic obviously with the PK, but he also had another shot from a near side angle that I don't think he really caught all that well. Yeah, Chicha, at least in the first half, maybe a couple half chances in there. It doesn't feel like there were no chances. It just feels like certainly. Maybe there was no finishing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, again, it's the final piece, whether that's the execution and the relationship between the crosser. We had a number of balls go across the face of the goal or that were cut back, and we just weren't the first ones there to finish it. As you said, a couple where we are in position to execute and we don't. I think Dejan has one at the end that he tries to go to the back post. Maybe he can slip it into Javi, who's coming in for a better angle finish, but he chose to go to goal instead of slip it in. Maybe one extra pass on that does us good. Didn't see it to really know for sure, but yeah, look, we have to get the first goal to equalize, and then I felt like if we could equalize, we had momentum, and I felt like we had them pinned into their half the field. We were confident the ball was moving appropriately. We were creating chances. So again, the first one, you got to get the first one so that you can build off of that, and we just couldn't get the first one.
Final question. You guys are now, I think, 1-9-1 whenever you allow the first goal. But really a similar stat whenever you guys go into halftime from a losing position, right? There's only been maybe one time you guys have come back and get a point. How does that change? How do you get something out of that? Because you're not always going to score the first goal.
Yeah, I think today was an example of how it can change. I thought our adjustments, I thought the behavior of the group, they did pretty much everything they needed to do in the second half. But you got to finish the chances that we set up. We've got to be more efficient around the goal. by and large, we managed the game well defensively. Again, Vanney has to make a couple saves, but I think it comes down to just concentration, execution. The group had a great mindset in the second half and came and they controlled the game and dominated the game and created chances. But you got to execute, or else you don't win games. And execution tonight was in the way of putting something in the back of the net.
Thanks, Greg.
We'll go with Alex Reese.
Hi, Greg. Thank you for your time. Just looking at the game, 4 of your defenders got yellow cards. Got 2 of them. Gasper and Zavaleta had to get subbed out. How much did that impact what you guys wanted to do defensively and during your build-out process?
Well, we made the substitutions primarily because of the yellow cards. If we were going to be aggressive and we're going to press, then and we're going to take that risk in the second half, then it's very difficult to do that with 2 defenders who are on yellow cards, because one mistake and you're down, and it's a tough one. So, going to the press in the second half, we knew we needed to get Chase and Eric off because it just becomes a little bit of a higher risk game. That was it. The other guys managed it well. When we got to the water break, Jules didn't have anything left, and so so we swapped with Kelvin. But the defenders had a lot of work to do just in the transition defending, a lot of space to cover. So, as long as they were doing that and winning the duels, then we were able to keep the game in the opposition's half of the field, and it made it a little bit easier for everybody else. And I thought the guys in the second half did a nice job of doing that. Good pressure on the ball. Their clearances were pretty obvious, and our guys were in good positions to clean up the vast majority of them. So, obviously, yellow cards played a role tonight. So we just had to be cognizant of it. They're a team that they challenge you in the depth. They challenge you with running. Guys who are slippery in midfield, and so it's a game where your defenders are a little bit at risk for these types of situations. Anyways, our guys handled it all right.
Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. We'll go 2 more. One with Rob Jalen, and the last one with Thiago Brandao. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Good.
So we saw all 3 DP players on the pitch for the second game in a row. Are you largely settled on your starting 11 at this point? And kind of a follow-up question to that, you've mentioned you're trying to bring in at least one more player. Hopefully, you've been saying that hopefully that happens. Does that impact as well what you're trying to do with this starting 11?
Well, I mean, the window's still open, so we're trying to keep all options, look at our team, and just see. But again, settled on the first team just depends on how well guys are playing and their contributions, game to game, week to week, all that. Just looking for consistency inside of the group, and the group that's going to maintain that consistency are the guys that are going to get the nod. So regardless of whether they're DPs or anything else, we're just, it's again that settling in on the group that comes out and gives that performance we're looking for every week. And, it's not everybody's perfect, but it's working through that. And I thought, again, the first half was a little bit tough for us, but the second half certainly was a much better response tonight.
Thanks so much, Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Last one with Thiago.
Good night, Coach Greg. The team is coming from a sequence of 5 defeats in 7 games. Today they could get a draw, but ended up missing the penalty. How much do you believe that the bad phase is related to the mental part?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the second half had to do anything with the mental part. I think the clarity, the work, the confidence the group showed on the ball, the confidence to create chances. Every single guy I thought was out there with a purpose, and they were working together to do it. I think, if anyone is confident right now, it's Dayon, because he's been on an incredible streak of putting balls in the back of the net. He's the one that stepped up over the penalty, so I don't think he was short of confidence in the moment. He went one way and the keeper went the same way. Some of the other opportunities, it just was an execution thing. Whether it's confidence or not, I'm not sure, but the group looked pretty confident to me in the second half, especially the first half. I think we just needed to get situated how we needed to defend them with some clarity so that we could really, really go and release ourselves. So I thought the group was in a good spot mentally and physically, and really proved that, I think, in the second half. But again, it's putting the ball in the back of the net, right? That can be a lot of things. It can be technical, it can be mental, it can be a lot of things. And tonight we just weren't able to get it done.
And the question is Douglas Costa is getting better with it matter. How do you see his evolution?
Yeah, again, I think Douglas is here to be a difference maker inside of the game, to play within the team, but also to create chances to get some goals, things like that. Continue to work with the group defensively, and he just has to keep, like everybody else, just keep working and keep building, and that continuity. Get to understand the league a little better here and there, and keep growing within the group so that he can have more of those moments that can have an impact on the final result. Right.